Hi, everyone. I'm Jim Burch. I'm the president of the National Police Foundation. And on behalf of myself, our staff, and our board of directors, I want to thank each and every one of you who has taken your time, your energy, and your resources to support our Got You Covered campaign with Axon Corporation. We got into this together with the Axon Corporation because we knew that personal protective equipment was needed by first responders. We knew there was a shortage. We know today there continues to be shortages. And it was our turn to protect the protectors. With your help, we've seen tremendous support go out to the public safety community. Axon has distributed thousands of pieces of PPE that we know are essential to protect first responders and others as they go about the business of keeping us all safe. In fact, just yesterday, we worked with the Visa Corporation to send 2,000 masks to a large agency that needed them desperately. Many agencies still struggle to get the PPE that they need. This fight is far from over, and we've got a long way to go together to reach our goal of $500,000 donated to match the investment of Axon Corporation of its own resources of $500,000 to get this PPE out to first responders. In a minute, you're going to hear from those who've been directly impacted by your generosity, and you're also going to hear them talk about why your continued support and the support of others you may know is essential. So we thank you, and we ask that each of you help us continue to get the word out about this important campaign, particularly as we go into National Police Week, which starts in just a couple of days. Thank you for your support, and thank you for supporting first responders.
So my name is Vicky. My fiance works for a local police department. He has been with the department for just about 3 years now. He loves his job. He would not patrol anywhere else.
Has it been his life's calling?
Absolutely. Ever since we were kids. I've known him since 6th grade, and he grew up around police officers. In 6th grade, he said, I'm going to be a police officer.
And how has the job changed recently with COVID-19?
A lot of the people where he patrols aren't necessarily wearing masks. So they're trying to practice social distancing, but sometimes depending on the call, you can't. So he is pretty diligent about, not bringing it home. We do have processes in place when he gets home to, because he doesn't have the stuff to cover his uniform and his shoes. And before this all happened, we kind of had a feeling this was going to get a little bit worse and, this grocery stores would be wiped out. So we did purchase a couple like Clorox wipe packs. So he has those in his car to wipe down, his front seat and dashboard and his steering wheel and center console, wherever, somebody else may have touched. The hand sanitizer he's using is what we had.
And do you worry about him when he goes to work more than usual?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's probably impacted you all in your family life as well, I assume. Are you able to visit family members like as you would otherwise?
So no, I'm working from home. My parents are all home. So you feel safe enough to go over there and be socially distant, but because of his line of work, you just don't know. I'm hoping there's good news ahead.
What would be your message for the people who have contributed to the Axon Got You Covered campaign and wondering whether they should continue to provide support?
Please continue to provide support. Our officers need to be have proper equipment so that they can come home and feel safe and that their families aren't worried about contracting it from home.
I'm a sergeant with the Phoenix Police Department. I've been in law enforcement for almost 24 years.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Sergeant, for being with us today. I think one of the things that I'm trying to share with people out there who have been so supportive and so much behind law enforcement at this time is what's it like to be on the streets today in the COVID pandemic? How has that changed the job?
It's hard for a lot of us how to protect ourselves while still working and keeping our community safe.
That had to have caused a lot of anxiety with folks who are on the streets every day. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. So, it's the unknown. How do we protect ourselves? Because at the end of the day, when we put on a uniform, we know that we have to do a job, but in the back of our minds, we know that we have family, we have children, we have to go back home to. And so how do we keep them safe as well?
And I saw on social media that Phoenix PD and other agencies across the valley benefited first from some of the PPE that was collected through the Got You Covered campaign that Axon and the Police Foundation were involved in. Was that helpful to you all?
Absolutely. So I think what we saw, and we know that we're important because we're obviously we're going to be in public contact so much, but we also knew that our healthcare workers are literally the first ones, that they're the first people that are going to be dealing with people that are sick. And so we know that a lot of the PPE is essential to them. And so having Axon and companies like that who took it and said, hey, this is specific to law enforcement, we know that we have to make sure that we take care of them as well, is huge.
And how many agencies across the valley were helped by that initial contribution? Do you know?
I know that there were a lot. I know that Tempe, Chandler, Mesa, MCSO. So just honestly, all the good partners that we are were part of this. And again, Axon and the National Police Foundation were crucial in making sure that we had the right stuff and that we were taken care of. So it was just a great feeling.
That's great. And, as I told Rick Smith, CEO of Axon, I was so impressed when I looked at the data of who was giving to that campaign. It was most of the donations were, small $10 donations. And there was one case of someone who gave their stimulus check back to the campaign, which was pretty impressive. But what do you think most law enforcement would say? What would you say to the people who donated all of those dollars?
We understand how important it is for everybody to stay healthy and stay safe, and just for someone to think about us and say, you know what, I really want our officers to make sure that they're safe because they're going to keep me safe, is huge. So it just means a lot to us because it allows us to continue to be, healthy and help us do the job that we love to do. And in turn, obviously, we get to go home to our loved ones and feel like we're healthy still, and we don't have to bring something home that because we have the right equipment, it's going to keep us safe.
Outstanding. We have to keep everybody safe in this. And as you know, I'm sure next week is the beginning of National Police Week. What would you have to say about that? How should we think about going into Police Week, given that we're in the middle of this crisis?
Unfortunately for us, we lost an officer in 2019. And so we had already planned a trip to honor Officer Paul Rutherford at the National Memorial. And so it was one of those moments that it saddens you because it just takes away from the family. It takes away from all the survivors. And so it's hard for a lot of us, and especially officers that were very close to Paul, to deal with that, to find a new way. And how do we use technology to leverage that same emotional connection? And so it's been an interesting journey, but I hope that everybody takes time next week to truly show respect and honor for every officer that lost their life last year and obviously in the years before that.
That's a great message, and I think we will absolutely stand with you in remembering Paul and his sacrifice, as well as many others around the country. I noticed yesterday the Officer Down Memorial page is reporting at least 16 officers have lost their lives in 2020 alone from COVID-19, which, as you know, is a pretty significant number for us. So this could be a particularly tragic year in terms of line of duty deaths for law enforcement.
Absolutely, and again, that is something we worry about. And I think every single person that wears this uniform, and again, I don't want to leave the doctors out and the healthcare workers because they are absolutely at risk as well. And they're doing so much to make sure that we're obviously staying healthy. It's difficult for us to say, hey, this could happen to you. You could get sick and you could die from it. And so it should never be taken lightly. It's a serious pandemic. It's serious that you should follow the recommendations. And that's what we're making sure that our officers are taken care of. And so that's why donations like this will keep us healthy.
In closing, we want to thank each of you again for your generosity. Let's honor the sacrifice that many have made. Let's honor the work that first responders and others do every day in our communities. And let's get back to work to help them by meeting this important goal and continuing to provide the PPE that they need. Thank you.